Female. It is an honor to have each and every one of you here. It's an honor to have you, and for you to have registered and to have shown interest to be here. So because of time, we'll just try and start immediately. And before we start, let's just quickly pray. Heavenly Father, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything you have done for us. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. We pray that as we've gathered here today, that you allow us to fulfill what we have gathered here to do. And pray that at the end of the day, none of us will be left out in terms of understanding. We will receive the full package of what we are meant for this day. Thank you. For in Jesus' mighty name we've prayed. Amen. So at this point, I'll hand over to the managing partner of Hilton Top Solicitors firm to give us her welcome address and to welcome you all officially. Over to you, Ma.
All right, thank you very much. You're all welcome. All right, are we together? All right, thank you very much, Adela. Very shortly, we'll go into the main focus for today. I want to welcome every one of you for being partakers of this present internship. I do not take this for granted, and I really appreciate the fact that you're all eager to learn and to upskill and, of course, add more feathers to the number of qualifications and knowledge that you have had. This is the Hilton Top Solicitors Female Virtual Internship, and I happen to be the founder and the managing partner of the firm. Hilton Top Solicitors is a firm that is tech savvy, dedicated to leveraging legal technology, to leverage the technology to deliver legal services, and as such is striving to be one of the drivers of legal tech. And of course, we are also in the light of the emerging technology, trying to find our space and then, of course, leveraging emerging technology and know where to play in the ecosystem, right? Okay, so today, the purpose of this internship is actually to stir up more women, more female into the ecosystem of the emerging technology and to inform them about what the emerging technology is all about, the intersection between it and law. Because usually without that intentional form of information, you probably might not have an idea that there's anything between law and the emerging technology and the need for you to be in the space. So if you are here, this is the internship that is quite different from others. We are not here to just talk about what law is, what law ought to be, as it has always been the tradition with most internship. We're here to majorly inform you and enlighten you about the emerging technology, how you can leverage on it in your legal practice in the light of the digital economy, so you can be well informed and so you can be relevant in this digital technology, in this digital economy. Because for the digital immersed world, if you are not able to leverage and find your space in the ecosystem, you will probably fizzle out before you know it. Yes, I can see some messages coming in. We are on mute. If you're not to speak, yes, I don't think you need to speak, right? So if you need to speak, time for that will come, and then we'll unmute those that need to speak in terms of having questions and the rest of that. So as I was saying, my purpose is to help more women, because this whole internship came about the fact that I drew most of the lessons from my personal experience as a lawyer. A law over a decade, and I recall years back in 2010 when I was called to the Nigerian bar, and I came out. I was quite clueless. For those who are volunteering and are here and have part of the system or part of the alumni of the Hilton Top Solicitors from 2020, they already probably are accustomed with some of this, my information. The fact that I came out in 2010, I was quite clueless about what I was going to do, how to connect the dots. Now I'm a full-fledged lawyer as at that time, and I came out, I felt the next thing was for me to get a very good a position in a tier 1 law firm, and then life is good. And then I realized that most times you have your plans all made up, but the issues of life and the realities of life will probably, puncture those dreams and those plans of yours. And if you're not well prepared and versatile, you might probably lose your balance until you try to remarrow before you are able to find your space and find your balance. And so at that point, I really didn't know where I was focusing on. Yes, I was good academically, the fact that you are in school and you feel that is how it's going to be in the world. But yes, I'm here to give you like a form of buster that yes, it's not the way you have planned it or the way it's being operated in the 4 walls of the university or of the law school, that life really is. Reality is different, right? And so if you are not well informed, you can miss your space. And so as a result of that, I wished I had the necessary mentors, I had the necessary form of mentorship. At that point, I would have been more directed, right? Because the whole dream of every one of us in law school, in the university back then was just pass well. When you come out, you get a position in one of the tier 1 law firm and life will just start on there and you are good to go. But it wasn't so. I had no idea what was going on in the real life. So there was a disconnect between the university, between the law school and the real world. Even though we had some mute court trials in the school, it's quite different from what really is going outside there. I didn't really have that form of practical illustration that was directing me, or the form of mentorship that could set me on the right track or where I could approach it. So really, when we come out that way, we tend to be a form of generalist. You're just, nibbling your hand on any form of practice you see. If you see intellectual property, you're doing it. If you see landlord and tenants, you're doing it. If you see this, you are doing. I'm not saying that is bad for you to quite get versatile, but you have no source of direction of what really is going to be relevant for me. For most of those tier 1 law firms or the most seniors that we have already, they already established their niche. And so for you to be able to combat with them, you need to go. I mean, it's not something that is easy financially and in every aspect. For you to be able to establish and be able to combat or compete in quotes, not compete like a sense of your life competing, but to be able to have your and be able to put something on your table. So I realized at that point that I didn't get into the tech space immediately, really. But like I said, I was still, finding my space, moving around, doing freelancing, and then starting my law firm from home as Deborah Oni and Deborah Oni and Co. And then it metamorphosed into the Hilton Top Solicitors. Now there were challenges because the thing is, sometimes when you know of the starting point of someone and then you know the end, it tends to confuse you because you're not well directed. You feel, oh, you are getting it wrong. But when you are told of the process in which was involved from the starting to the end, not the end per se, but to the present part where you know the person, you are able to, infuse yourself into that process and be like, okay, I know this is what it's going to take, or it's something like this, similar to this. So if you can, then it's possible for me to be able to surmount these challenges to be able to get to where I am. And now it's getting harder because we're in a digital economy. It's going to be hard for you not to understand that there is a connection, there is an intersection between the technology and the legal practice for you to be able to get into more research. I mean, sometimes when you come for things like this, it's not the whole of it that is going to make sense to you. For some, it will make sense for everything. And some of you will come and you feel disappointed. Don't get disappointed unless you're not interested about anything about technology. But the thing is, it could be just one word that will set you on the right track, because it was just one word that set me on the right track into, coming into the space of the emerging technologies. So we will get to that. So like for me, coming into the space of the emerging technology, focused especially on the blockchain aspect, it all started from the fact that my husband has the accounting background, and then he was into the blockchain and the cryptocurrency space. And at some point we had an encounter with one of my mentors, and he just mentioned just one word. He said, not look into the blockchain space, because at that point I was telling him that most of the time while I'm going through the process of childbearing and the rest of it, by the time I'm doing my maternity leave for myself, of course, because I've always practiced for myself and a bit of freelancing for other seniors, and then I tend to lose clients. And I was complaining to that very big senior that how do I do to build my clientele base? What he needed to say was just, why not look into the space of the blockchain and cryptocurrency that your husband is into? And that point, it dawned on me that, oh, there's something about blockchain that relates to law, because all the while I had a financial background, he's into accounting, and I felt because of that, it really, resonated well with him. From that very moment, from the following day, for every seminar my husband went, then I followed him. And that first time I followed him, I got my word. I got the source of direction, because for every point of time that seminar was going on, I paid attention to it, and I was looking for where solutions were coming. And then it dawned on me that, oh, this blockchain they are referring to, it can actually be leveraged on to build a better land registry. At this point, I hadn't even heard anything about that aspect. So, and then I realized again, okay, I was trying to handle some pro bono matters the other day, and then we were precluded from doing that because of the errors in the court registry, where we have the records of the particular inmates torn out of the register when we went to the maximum prison to take pro bono matters. And so I recall that, oh, if this information on the chain, that means injustice will not, the level of injustice will be reduced, right? Because if we can't find the record and we can't pursue the matter at the right time and you're delaying unnecessarily, I mean, that's a form of injustice, right? So then I opened up my mind and I found it very, very, very intriguing. And I was like, wow, this is a space I should be into. Because all the while I felt one blockchain is all about the Bitcoin alone. So then I now understood the aspect that, oh, this is bigger than what I ever understood it to be. And so I started with the research, with putting myself out to collaborate, to get more education from those who were ahead of me in it. And then, of course, I never gave up on the personal research, which helped me a great deal. Started with research, I started with writing up on this aspect, and then I started joining communities. And for those I know that, oh, you are ahead of me, I call you up for a meeting, I ask for some forms of direction, and then I take it from there and go higher. And that's how I've been able to find my space to the level that I am, even when I have not gotten to the highest that I want, but I am sure not where I used to be in 2018, 2017, 2018, at the point I came into the emerging techs. Now that's just by the way. So for me, when I came into it, I felt, oh, there are other women who are probably struggling like me. There are others who are quite clueless, come out and they're quite clueless, and it takes them a long time to be able to find their feet. And then instead of just, munching and nibbling on whatever you see, whatever life throws at you, most times you are waiting, clients will come, they are bargaining at a price that cannot probably even buy crayfish, and you're wondering, is it the law I went to practice that I came out thinking it was all going to be good, that it's this way? So instead of just, running around and waiting for life to throw at you what it has, you can actually grab what you want out of life if you are well informed and if you are well empowered. And so I felt that it now behoves on me to use this, my experience, to be able to educate others. And like I said, a conference we attended recently, they said, the WIMBIs, they said, don't waste your pain. And that was what I did. At that point, I felt, oh, I have gone through all this from that 2010 to this time, and it's still like you were, you're just, managing to see where you want to fit into the space of law, and now you are finding a space that you feel is so interesting. Why not try to bring in more women who, of course, you already understand the plight from personal experience, and then probably you can give them a source of direction through this kind of thing by doing a form of internship and mentorship that will direct them and be able to, even while they are in school, so that they can find their feet while still in school. And then when you come out, you are well kind of set up, because like that's the advantage. I saw that the tech space actually offers women a lot of opportunities. I discovered that the tech space is like a lifesaver for women, right? Like some of the issues that women are plagued with are quite reduced by the time you leverage on tech. Now you are not able to handle some matters or some briefs for some persons that you probably don't even have maybe supportive members around you. And then they tell you, okay, you can't do this because you're a woman, you can't do that because you're a woman. But when you leverage on tech, there's a limit to which anybody will really give you an excuse that you can't do this because you're a woman. One, I recall while I was submitting CVs around in my first few years of the practice then, most of the statements I met up with was the fact that, oh, madam, we can't give you this work because you are married, because you are pregnant, because you have a baby. Once it's 5 o'clock, you are going to be thinking of your children and your husband, and you won't have your full attention. At that point, they had not tried me, but they were already prejudiced towards me in the sense that they believe that I might not be able to handle it because they see that you're probably a young married woman, or you're probably in the early stage of your pregnancy, or at the stage you have given birth and they're telling you you have a baby and you go that way. But I mean, in this tech space where you can even be breastfeeding a baby and at the same time you can be doing your work digitally, it saves you a lot of hassles, right? And in an aspect where you don't have to sit in the office and be like, oh, my children are there, I've not even picked them up, I've not attended to them yet, because you can actually work from home, you can work digitally, you can leverage and position yourself in communities that are even across your immediate borders, across your immediate jurisdiction, and you can work from there at the comforts of anywhere that you find yourself, even as a woman, so that you can actually combine your work and you can still be in the kitchen, you can combine your work. And then, of course, you attend several meetings, you are more productive. Because like right now, sometimes I host several meetings in a day that I don't have to, except the few ones that I hold within the state where I'm based in Lagos and all that. And then few ones I'll probably have to take you out. The major meetings that you hold, you're holding meetings across jurisdiction, across Nigeria, and you are not moving. Nobody is stressing you and saying, madam, because you're a woman, you won't be able to move down to this place, you won't be able to move down to that place, and you are selling deals and all that. And I realize, of course, why not inform and educate other women? You are not there yet, but you don't have to wait to get to where you really want at the highest position of this whole thing before you inform them. Carry them along, build them along, and you'll be able to have a great and big ecosystem of women doing great things, and not just representing, but also participating. It is high time. I recall at that point, the number of CVs I submitted, I can't really say, but I can assure you that it was more than 40 something, right? That's not just for me to exaggerate. That's why I said 40 something. And I recall most of these firms were firms headed by men. Now, I have no problem with men. As a matter of fact, men are so supportive of women growing. For me, I have a husband that is supportive, even of this program and everything that I do. And then, of course, but most of these firms that I hear this kind of story, I do not believe if I had met a woman, the woman would look me into the eyes and tell me that, no, madam, I can't give you this job because I feel by 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, your attention will be divided. I didn't see any. So now, like, it's not like those men were not ready, but of course, you don't know the personal experience they've had with some of the women, but I still know that some of the women there are married and singles, but I do not know what must have happened to mine at that point. But I hadn't worked for any of them prior to that time before you will say, okay, maybe that was the experience they had with you before. No, but that was what I met. So now I felt, now if we have more women in the ecosystem that are participating actively, definitely you understand the plight of a woman. Before you can do away with a woman with this kind of statement, you must have given a try and you feel this woman has messed it all up. And you feel this woman has taken it for granted. You don't just get, biased by seeing the woman and telling her that you don't understand, because you already understand where that woman is coming from, right? And then apart from that, I know that for some of those firms, they have women in large numbers in some of those firms. Some were tier 1 law firms, but I didn't meet with the women because the thing is, majorly you find women just representing. They are not participating. They are not the one at the helm of affairs in this, most of these firms. Now, I have no problem with that, but I also deemed it fit that from those kind of experience, I can help more women come in and take their own destiny into their hands by the power of God, right? And then be able to create and provide more opportunities for other women to come in so you can be happy. Because an empowered woman is an empowered society. Because when a woman is empowered, you empower your children, you empower the society, right? And so for we as women, we have the voice already. The problem is not just about finding our voice. So I won't say you need to be empowered and know the direction you are going and be well informed so you can function as a female lawyer climbing the ladder of the ladder of the legal space, right? But I won't say you have to find your voice. Your voice is there already. The potentials are there already as a woman, but you just need to be well empowered. You need to be well directed. It could be just that one word. So I want you all to participate in this internship. If you feel you know more than what is being taught here, no problem. No knowledge is lost. You can just add it a bit. Just be open-minded. It could be one thing. It could be two things. You could just pick as much as the number of lessons that your mind is open to picking, and that could be what will set you on the right track. So for this internship, we will be running it for 2 weeks. The maiden edition started in 2020 when the Lord dropped this into my mind, and it was so heavy in my heart that, okay, carry people along. And when I started, it was quite, the feedback has been very, very great. And then we have a lot of you who has done before that are getting well directed as a result of this platform. What we do is to also, along with other industry experts from the legal space, from the tech space, and that is why this is different from any other legal internship you attend. So for us, it is not just about law, because I realize that in a technologically immersed world, especially in the emerging space, it's not just about your law. Your law alone, if you're just focusing on law and not relating with the external communities, you will really not be functional. You won't be functional in this present technological world. Now, the thing is, the business you want to do, at a point I recall in law school that is, then we were told law is not a business. But don't really quote me, but I think this is what I felt they said. But the thing is, in a way, law is a business. So if you don't approach it with that business mind, you might not be able to, leverage and understand the business of the people you are serving. Now you intend to represent people. The lawyer that will function now must be a lawyer that will understand the business of the customers. You can't sit and the customer will be talking. A lot of tech startups are coming up. If you do not understand their language, you do not understand their business, they tend not to bring you in because others are already leveraging it. Talking from the global perspective, most law firms, lawyers from the global perspective, from outside our jurisdiction are already, grabbing these opportunities and getting the various knowledge that they need to get. Now, if you're not informed about the fact that there is a relationship with this, how will you be able to serve them? How will you be able to even sit and research about it and be like, okay, this is where I want to find myself? Now, I'm not putting myself out as a professional in all of the aspects of the emerging technology, but I am telling you that I found a space in the emerging technology that I love and is doing me well, and I know that it's going to do me better as I continue in it. And I feel I should throw that out to others to understand the fact that this present world, the digitally immersed world that we are in, demands that you as the lawyer be digitally aware, be commercially aware, and be, of course, business-like aware. And then what that means is that you have to leverage seriously on technology. A long time ago, you will come out of law school and you probably, if you don't get a space in a tier 1 law firm or in any of the law firms that you want, you're probably thinking, let me get my money together, get my law firm and get all the facilities, the printers, the this, the that, and get it all set up in it. Now, let me give you a shocker. If that is your plan, then you are outdated, because the functioning lawyer in this emerging technology, in this digital economy, is not about you setting up, it's not just about you setting up your office. If you have your money to set up your office, put printer, put this, put that, that's fine, right? But that is not what is going to guarantee you the success that you need. That's not what is going to guarantee you the kind of clients that you need. Now, the thing is that if you are, that's why the theme of this practice, this internship is legal practice without borders. And that was a theme for February edition. It's still the theme. It is intentional because the practice is going beyond borders. It's not just about a local form of practice. In a digitally immersed world, in a digital economy, you are going to be transacting and practicing beyond your borders. And most of these people do not even care the kind of printer that you have. You're not going to print and be sending through DHL like we used to do. Some years back, I recall the troubles I go through to be able to print documents, take to client, drive down there, risk my life, waste money, waste everything. Then the client will just amend like a sentence or a word, I take it back to the office, redraft it, and then print again, take it there. Then they will see another thing again, they will draft, they will correct, and then I keep going forth and back, wasting money, wasting the ink in the office, wasting my time, and then of course, risking my life driving to and fro. And when I started leveraging technology, things like, before we even get to the emerging technology, the essence also is for you to understand the purpose of leveraging the existing technology. And then I started leveraging the existing technology. It was one of my clients from the US who even told me about things like Google Doc. And I recall, oh, so you can even draft a document and I can review with my clients or whoever, or with my staff. And then we do review even at the same time, online while we're still on the phone. And then by the time you suggest any form of suggestion or any correction you feel, you can just make on it. And then I just accept those corrections. And at the end of the day, within a few minutes, we have worked on these documents, right? And the next thing, you are already signing the document. You can actually do some of this signing if you're the only one that needs to sign on Microsoft Office. And if it's a legal document that is involving like a contract, two parties need to sign. You have your DocuSign. And so I recall back then I have to print, send through DHL to another state. Then they bring back. Before they bring back, time is gone. Time is gone. And then the next thing, the whole business relationship is going down. There's delay. They are complaining. You are complaining. There's wastage of money and all that. But before you know, within and outside the jurisdiction, you're already signing documents. You are sending it to where it needs to, whether in the US, whether in your state, whether in your village. As long as there's internet connection, you sign your documents and you know that, okay, oh, this is well done. And so there's this speed with technology. Now, the thing is that you are able to maximize your time. And of course, it doesn't entail that you now have all the money that you have to be like, okay, that's the tier one law firm. This firm is so bam, it's so big, it's so well equipped, and as such, I can't meet up with the demands of the kind of things I need to give a client. No, that's good for them that they're well established now, but you can actually start from the level that you are once you are leveraging technology. And so it's going to make your work easier, it's going to make it faster, it's going to make it cheaper, and it's going to help you maximize your profit because you won't have to expend all this on ink, repairing of printers. I know how many times I was repairing printers at the time that I was heavily manual in my legal transactions. So you are printing and printing, we're wasting papers. And at that point, the thing is, I was doing the work of like a tutor to my secretary. She typed and then it's all wrong. You have to retype again. You have to do everything. I mean, with all these documents, with all this technology, with all this AI and the rest of it, you leverage, you can type by yourself so fast. You can read it out and then you amend. You can actually have a document on your paper and you take your phone and actually scan it to your phone and it turns to a document that you can actually type. Like sometimes some ideas might just flow and you just drop it down and you are thinking of before you now start typing again differently. I have to write and then give to my secretary then, and then she has to type. But all I need to know, if an idea runs or I need to draft something and I feel I am drafting it on my paper, I can actually take my phone and then scan it all up to my phone to turn it to a document, a Word document that I can actually start imputing corrections on. And it will be like I typed it into the phone. But that is with the help of phones like iPhone. But I don't know for any other smartphone whether it has that feature. So these are things that are coming up. There are AIs that are being developed, technologies are being developed that you can leverage on to save you costs and to make things cheaper. So rather than you looking for an office, I'm not saying office is not good. I had an office, but what we are doing now is to, like I said, our purpose is to leverage the technology and then deliver our service. So we are interested in innovations that this technology brings, and we are ready to leverage on it. And it might interest you to know that presently we are closing down our office because we're seeing that the results we are getting from leveraging technology to deliver services across the various clients that we have is helping us more leveraging on the technology. And then you see that you are using that to really cater for and then sponsor the physical office, which is probably, if you are strictly on that one, is not yielding you anything. And for the area where we went, the thing is, you don't have most clients from within there. So most times you're now seeing those ones that will, price you at a very crayfish price kind of thing that are coming up for just that office. Don't get me wrong, I do a lot of pro bonos, right? But of course, as you do that, you need to know where you are putting your boundaries so that you don't just run on pro bonos and at the end of the day, you're not making any money. That was what I used to do. And so I discovered that at the end of the day, you are trying to look for your personal money to be like cater for the office. So, but now when you leverage technology, there is such a huge amount of profit you can get from it. You can have time for your family. You can, if you feel, oh, I'm not married yet, I don't have children, it doesn't concern me. It does, as long as you're a woman. If you have parents, if you have siblings, or if you feel you don't even have any and you happen to be like, maybe like an orphan like me, you still have some forms of relatives or you have some forms of friends around you, because you must not cut out, even when we are in the digital economy, you must not cut out the human part of you, that there is a need to relate with people, right? So these are things that you need to be well informed. If you're not well informed about this, you will just spend your money on things that don't matter. And at the end of the day, you will leave yourself struggling. You put yourself under a form of competition and hypertension. Oh, how do I pay for this office? How do I pay for that? How do I do this? How do I get clients? I'm not saying that anymore. But back then, that was my story. Oh, how do we even build this clientele base that are going and the rest of it? Because sometimes probably they need you to do something or they need you to get somewhere and you're not able to because you're at home with the baby, or some of the meetings you're carrying the baby fine. But some things you're just precluded from doing. You cannot compare yourself to your male counterparts. They are so free like a bird, right? So, but the technology will make you very, very free and you can reach everywhere, anywhere. Like the sky is your beginning. There is no limit to where you can reach, so that when you even need to now move, it's easier for you because you are doing something that is maximizing profit for you and you are able to, attend to the other parts of your practice that will probably entail that you move around. And so you don't spend your time, your money, and your energy and your knowledge on things that will not yield you. So now, yeah, that's part of it, right? So when I got into the space for the emerging technology, we should know that the emerging technology comprises things like the artificial intelligence, IoT, which is the Internet of Things, there's machine learning, there is 3D printing. These various parts are all emerging technology. But on top of them all, as I would like to believe, is the blockchain technology, which is the area that I am focused on. Now, I stated the other ones in case you might want to look them up. You look them up and you might see where you want to really function. Is it the AI you want to function on? Things like Siri, those are AIs, right? It helps you to, operate faster. You put a reminder, it tells you someone is calling you, your phone is far away, it's telling you, oh, this person is calling and stuff like that. And apart from that, of course, there are various other functions that this AI will do, right? I just gave an example of Siri on the phone and all that. So now for that aspect, you might want to, so these are all the emerging technology. Let me read them up and see what I really want to do. But don't forget, one of the things that also intrigued me about the emerging technology is the fact that some of it, if not all, because I haven't looked into all of them. Now, let me speak from the aspect of the blockchain. One of the things that intrigued me about the blockchain is the fact that I read in an article and then heard from one of my mentor, I will say, that is in the space. And she said, the blockchain is here to take the space of lawyer. And I said, how? And then of course I was like, if it's here to take my space, then I should know about the thing. If you've come to take something from me, then I should know what it is you have that is making you very important to take away my own role, what I spent how many years to go and study, and I've not even made what I want to make in it. So I got very, very interested in it, and it was quite like, oh, let's know about this whole thing that they said is coming to eliminate the space of lawyer. Now you will ask, or probably you might say, oh, you know that one, or you've not heard of that. Now, the advantages of blockchain is the fact that it eliminates the intermediary. And don't forget that you and I, if you are an undergraduate, you are studying to become a lawyer to take the space of an intermediary most of the cases. Because in most cases, we are acting in that middleman space. Somebody wants to buy land, one wants to sell, you are the one connecting them, you are the one trying to do the documents that will bind their relationship legally. Somebody has a problem, they need a solution, the court is there, and you need to, they have problems within themselves, you need to, adjudicate upon their matter, you have to represent, to take the matter to the court for it to be adjudicated upon, and things like that. In most of our roles, it's quite middleman kind of thing. So if the blockchain is here to make this faster, cheaper, and then to eliminate intermediary, to remove the central authority and all the advantages that it has, why won't I get interested about it? So that is one of the things that also got my eyes really wide open and got me very, very open-minded to understand whatever it takes to understand this aspect of the emerging technology that even when we have the machine learning, we have the IoT, we have the AI. This one that is threatening my space here, I'm going all out to get it and see where I can leverage. And that was why it was like 100% diving in for me, right? And so we will now get to the aspect. Don't get me wrong, I will start on the blockchain, dissect it for you, pieces it for you in the way, so that when other presenters will come in subsequent days, you will have an idea and your mind will be open for those who do not really have the major idea about what is blockchain and how we can actually leverage on it. If you don't have an idea, you can have a bit of it. And then for me, like I said, because this is the emerging tech space, the idea to bring you all in as women into the space, get you to understand it's not a forceful thing, but expose your mind to it. And then you can read up, understand, and take your decision from there. And most importantly, remember that the essence is to make you leverage the existing technology to make things easier, faster, and cheaper for you, while you learn and upskill to be able to know where you will play a role in the emerging technology, which is here to stay and which is going to play a very major part in every sector. And so it might interest you to know that in major sectors of the world, in the insurance, in the financial aspect, which the blockchain first started with, most of these sectors are already leveraging. So the earlier we lawyers understand and start building space in it, the better it will be for us, for a lawyer who does not want to become obsolete and who doesn't want to fizzle out, right? So that is what got us to this point. So thank you all once again. As the founding and managing partner of Hilton Top Solicitors, I welcome you all as we try to dive into a bit of the blockchain. I hope if you have questions, you let me know, and then we'll attend to that subsequently. In the subsequent classes, we'll have people like the Leonard Silk, Atoye Bimuyiwa, himself will be here tomorrow to take us on the future of law. Now, these topics are quite curated by me because, like I said, it's not all about law. And for the part of the law that we are bringing in are the ones I know will relate with this emerging technology for you to see how you can do that form of comparison or that kind of combination, right? So now for me, for the emerging technology, we know that law is definitely not going to be the way it used to be. Law will not be what you know it should be. So the future law is the law we're starting now. So I want the Leonard Seal to take us on that, the future of law. So you can get your questions ready, prepared tomorrow. The Leonard Seal, Toye Bimuyiwa, will be here tomorrow to take us on that aspect. And then followed by the third day, we'll be having the president of the Nigerian FinTech Law, FinTech Association, pardon me, please. The president of the Nigerian FinTech Association will be here on the 17th to take us on the Nigerian FinTech. Now, like, I had no idea that the FinTech Association has anything to do with lawyers. Later, I started seeing that some of our lawyers were part of this organization. I was like, what are they doing? What are they doing with the FinTech and all that? And I didn't realize that. I mean, these are the things I meant by relate with community. So it's not just the NBA you are part of and you are just happy. For us then, we were like, oh, I'm part of NBA and all that. But the truth of it is that I didn't really learn so much from going for the meetings of the NBA and all that. So gladly, I'm not saying you won't be a member of the NBA. That's the body that rules the law, right? So you have to be a part of it. But please, do not just stick to that. And when they ask you what affiliate bodies do you belong to, it's just NBA and that is all. You will not learn anything with that. You won't, trust me. You won't learn anything with that. So these are things you should relate with, get to understand. There you will meet up with tech startups. You will get to understand where the discussion is heading to, what the technology space is talking about. And if you decide you don't even want to go to technology, whatever aspect that you want to practice your law, I am telling you, you can't do away with technology. That's the truth. Is it, which aspect really do you want to do? Is it litigation strictly? I met one the other day, she said that it's litigation she wants to do. I said, even if it's litigation, because we're trying to leverage the technology. We have virtual hearings now, right? Is it not when you leverage technology? When we first started during the COVID, we recall the fact that they were making caricature of the Nigerian courts when they said the judge will be on the phone, the lawyer will be there and be like, what they will spend 1 hour or 2 hours to be doing, say, hello, my lord, can you hear me? Hello, hello. trying to use Zoom, and the issue of connection in Nigeria and stuff like that. But we will get better. The most important thing is that we get to understand and we start it. E-filing is there and the rest of it. We're talking of course, digitization of the court record. Now we're talking of the rest of us who understand an aspect of the blockchain now, that there is a need to deploy all this information of the court record, the land registry and all that to the blockchain technology so we can have that immutability. It won't be changed, and then of course you can guarantee the justice you need to guarantee, and then of course you can safeguard people's information for the land registry and not tamper with it with all the swindlers and the rest of it, right? So these are things that no matter the aspect you are in law, don't say technology does not concern you, whether the existing technology or the emerging technology, one way or the other it will concern you. So please get interested. So apart from the fact that Mr. Ade Bachomo, the president of the Nigerian FinTech Association, will be here to speak to us, he will also tell us the role of lawyers. Why I gave him that is not because he's a lawyer, which I don't think he is a lawyer, but because I know that being the president of the Nigerian FinTech Week, I want things that are quite relatable, things that are, illustrated, that are practical. He has been associating with the tier 1 law firms and members of this association, I get you, right? So he understands how most of these things work. He understands the role that you can really play. Because at the first time I heard about this FinTech, I was like, some years back, I was like, so this guy is part of the Nigerian FinTech. How does it concern lawyers? I was so confused. I wish I had somewhere to get that information, you get it? So I would have been probably, well leveraged and well placed in that space from a long time ago, but it's never too late when you get yours, right? So then we'll have the CBN director, one of the directors of the CBN, the director of the project manager. He will be here, Mr. Fadele, to tell us on the CBDC. Sometimes you are confused. You hear cryptocurrency, you hear CBDC. I've partaken in some CBDC conferences organized by the international space. I want us to bring it down home. The CBDC, the Nigeria in Naira, how do you hear about it? Get your questions ready. What's the role of lawyers? What are these, what really brought about this whole CBDC that we're talking about? Do we have any role as lawyers in this, in the space of the CBN for those that are in the committees? And whatever you are confused about or whatever is bugging you in your mind, bring those questions to ask him about the CBDC, how it came about. Is it to be able to shift off the cryptocurrency? Because I have friends that when they hear any bad news about the cryptocurrency and the blockchain, they send to me and be like, Debbie, this is it. But when they hear the good one, they won't tell me. So now you get to see the CBN, one of the directors, you ask him all the questions you want to ask. And of course, my very good friend, Senator, the president of stakeholders in blockchain in Nigeria, Siban, he will be here to tell us on the regulatory frameworks. Because the thing is, yes, I can cram them all up in one topic, but you might not really get to understand it. So I have to break them down and be like, okay, let him take us on it. For his own session, it will be questions and answers. So please come with your questions. Regulatory frameworks on the blockchain in Nigeria. So you will ask him any question that is bugging you about what is the stand of Nigeria, the various directives that has been released so far by the SEC, right? And then you get to break it all down. Whatever questions you have, please keep them flowing in and let it be dropped so that the volunteers will pick up those questions on the day of Senator Iheye. It will be all taken. Tuta, the president of blockchain users in Nigeria, will be here also on the 22nd to tell us about the ecosystem of the blockchain users so that you get to know. She's talking about joining external communities. Which are the communities? These are the ones I'm telling you already. These are some of it. Let's start locally. Then at the end of the day, I will also tell you the international ones. Right? So the blockchain users of Nigeria, he will be here. He will take us on the ecosystem of blockchain in Nigeria because he's been ruling this organization, which is on blockchain. You get to understand the members that are inside. You'll be shocked to know the number of lawyers are there, and you'll be wondering, so it's not just it's just me that have not heard about it, and some of you must have heard about it, but these are places, communities you need to relate with, because most of these tech startups are members of this place, and they want to see lawyers that understand their language, that understand what is going on, that understand the blockchain or the emerging tech, and see how you can function. And the moment you come into it and you're functioning, you will get your space and you will be able to get the brief that you need, so that before you even come out, you're already understanding what this whole thing is about, and you are already starting your practice. I'm not saying, yeah, everyone will have to, but just get informed. If you are informed and well empowered, you will take your decision whether yes, your own is to go for yours or to go under someone. But the thing is, you won't now sit at the expense that, okay, I'm waiting for a tier 1 law firm. They said next year they'll give me the position in their firm, and then you won't be doing anything. No. So while you are waiting for your dream to work in a tier 1 law firm, you can actually do something great for yourself and get the whole society empowered, right? And when I say the whole society, for me, this is the whole society, starting from my legal space, right? For you, the law undergraduates and graduates, right? And then we'll be having Mrs. Imabon from Alukwano Yebode, who will take us on dispute resolution in the light of the digital economy. Now, like I said, things are not going to be as it used to be, so as it ought to be now, right? So the your ADR that you have and everything, there is a way it's going to be operated in this digital economy, right? So you talk about your online dispute resolutions and stuff like that. Any questions that is bugging you or that you don't understand, just put them together and then you will ask him. Now, I appreciate Mrs. Ima Bombo. She was referred on the platform of Professor Tunde Fagbowolu, who is a very great senior and very, very great person that I appreciate so much. He's been part of our pioneer speakers in 2020. He was not available for the second edition. He sent someone this time around also. Another thing, inevitably, he won't be available. So he sent Mrs. Ima Bombo, one of the partners of Alukwano Yebode, will be here. And then Tunde, Mr. Tunde will be here to take us on cyber security. He's the CEO of the data protection company, and he will be here to take us on cyber security. Now, the thing is, you should get interested, because when we're talking of a technologically immersed world, there are a lot of issues, a lot of problems. So if there are lots of issues and lots of problems, why won't you function as a lawyer? So your main thing is to solve problems, right? So where there is a problem, then you should be interested to get involved, because if there are going to be a lot of issues like data protection, data privacy, cyber security, then get to understand these things, and then you know where you will function, place yourself. So is it in the light of emerging technology, where do I function? Is it law, and is it the data privacy aspect? Is it the data protection? Is it the cyber security? Is it intellectual property? Unfortunately, the person who is to take the intellectual property will probably not be able to make it, which, well, this is not the last of it. We'll be organizing other programs and other internships. And then we hope to make this bigger and better in light of the various feedbacks and suggestions that we get. But for the ones that are available that I have just spoken, I mean, it's going to be a whole lot. So you won't want to miss any of the sessions. So now, quickly, let's go into the blockchain, a very brief understanding of it. I'm sure most of you already understand what the blockchain is, right? Now, okay, so blockchain, of course, we know that it is not like a property. Blockchain is just a technology, a database. Usually, it's something like entering information into a ledger. It's like having a book and then you put this information. So this is now the blockchain. The fact that you put this information, when I bring another subsequent information, you seeing another subsequent information, but the difference between that is that it's in blocks and it will be linked together. You bring another block, you put this information. Now, if I say Debbie is the owner of this book, I put it in the first block. And then maybe the book transfers from me to like my daughter, my first daughter, CG. I'll put another block, link it together, draw a chain there, and then put it there and be like, this book has now transferred from Debbie to CG. And then the next thing, it will be recorded. Now, that will not be the only information. How it came about the transfer and the rest of it will have to pass to this list. But the thing about blockchain is that when you are putting all this information, you don't just see and say, okay, this book, we saw that it's Debbie that owns it, we put it, it's for Debbie. It's now in CG's handle, it's for CG. No, it's going to pass through a process that is called verification. And then this the fact that it's being verified, you know, it works with a form of what they call consensus mechanism, right? So this consensus algorithm is the fact that when you trigger any information on this platform, it will send notice to every connected platform. And that's the good thing about the blockchain. The fact that it's a peer-to-peer kind of operation. It is a connected peer-to-peer platform. What they call it a connected nodes, which are computers. So as I'm connected, if it's on a blockchain that we are now, there are other systems connected to it because it's public. But of course, the fact that it's public, we still have the exception of the private blockchain, right? But just understand the basic one, the purpose of it, and how the major one came about, the fact that it was public. So now when you enter this information, it will trigger the other connected nodes, and they have to agree by way of consensus algorithm. So through that consensus, they have to agree that, okay, this is the right information that needs to be imputed. And once you put it in there, guess what? It's not something you can just change. One person cannot come and say, oh, I've decided that this book was initially not for Debbie. It was actually for her grandmother. Then let me just change it. One person, no. It has to be by way of that consensus algorithm also before it is changed. So the good thing about it, which is also a form of disadvantage, is the fact that you can't change it on your own. Now, what it takes to change this thing is what they call, okay, the 51%. That you have to probably gain access to about over 50% of these connected systems, which we call the nodes, the computers. You have to gain access to it within a required amount of seconds, and which is not possible. Now, you can say, is it not possible? If it's not possible, why did the hack come about, the DAO attack come about, for those of you who already have an idea? Yes, for everything, there's always an exception, right? The thing is that once there is a loophole in anything, those who understand it to reasonable extent will exploit it. So it was due to that exploitation by some of the scammers. At the time, the blockchain was still in its nascent state, that they exploit the smart contract. Now you want to understand the aspect of this smart contract. And that was one of the things that got me interested. That's smart contract. If I can understand this, then I can play a role there now. So if this thing now comes, it won't eliminate me physically. It can eliminate physically as in a way that if I open my office and just sit and be waiting for a client to come, I won't get. But if I get into this ecosystem and understand, and you are already leveraging and playing role with all these, the developers and the tech startups, then you can be part of those who will probably drag this smart contract. If you can go into the coding, if you want, there's no pressure about it. That's why I said you first come into it, understand, and then you know the role you want to play in the ecosystem. Without understanding, you can't know where you want to play. I can just tell you, no, go into the smart contract. And you probably feel, no, you don't understand, you don't get this smart contract. No, but you can just come with open-mindedness, which was what worked for me. I didn't come in with, okay, I knew the solutions I wanted to provide. I knew I wanted to be one of the solution providers in the Web3 space on this blockchain, but how and where, I didn't know. So I opened my mind to be able to understand what this thing was. What is even this blockchain? Is this something I will carry? I understood that no, it's not something you will carry. It's just a database. It's just something you enter information and it is secured, immutable, meaning you can't just change it. So like we have in the land registry, from personal experience representing some clients for some landed property issues, saw where some people extracted some documents, tampering with the dates and all that. And those were the things that really spurred my mind when they were teaching in that first seminar. I followed my husband. I was like, okay, so if they deployed this information for the land registry, somebody cannot just come and go and lift the documents, C of O, and just say they are the owner. When you see no connection between them and the document, they probably go and forge some forms of deed of conveyance, but you see that the CFO they have has nothing in connection with them because the name that is registered at the land registry in the lands bureau is different from their names, and that is the name that is also in the CFO. But the fact that they have a deed of conveyance has no connection, no name connects them or nothing. There's no link in the chain of title. And so I recall from that personal experience, I was like, okay, so these are issues that can be solved because if it's on the blockchain, this information will be there from where it passed to get to this particular Alaji who was claiming. Now, if the Alaji was not part of those that are in the blocks of information on this blockchain, there's no way he can come and deceive me because by the time we verify and check everything on the system, we know that he is not part of it. Now, if they are trying to lift it, it will trigger the other connected nodes and be like, somebody is trying to play some scam. But don't forget that the normal Web2, the normal digital system that you have, the normal system, they can just go and clean it up. All they need is to get the stuff and clean it up. It's easier to clean it up, to clean the data from the system, right? So so that is one of the things about this blockchain. So the blockchain technology or the distributed ledger technology can be defined as a decentralized and trustless ledgers. So you don't, when it says trustless, it means you don't have to trust in some forms of a central authority, right? So recording transactions across a peer-to-peer network, that is the blockchain in its simplicity. Now, of course, if you want other definition, you have things like a blockchain is a decentralized database that stores a registry of assets and transactions across a peer-to-peer network. The asset may not only be money, it may be transactional information, but also information regarding ownership, contracts, goods, and other information, just like I was using an example of the land registry, right? Okay. So now, if you must know, the blockchain actually was created for the purpose of Bitcoin. So for some, they get it all mixed up. I know that some are well informed down, but for some who do not understand, or for those who understand, but you probably need, sometimes you need to, some things need to be re-echoed for you to remember that, oh, you actually know it. Now, the blockchain was actually created for Bitcoin. Now, this is one of the aspects, and that's why we said the financial sector started with leveraging on the blockchain, which was what brought about the cryptocurrency. Don't forget that the centrality in the financial sector led to this innovation of the Bitcoin being deployed to the blockchain technology. The fact that the centrality will control the money, they make the money on it, and they just tell you what they want to tell you, and then they are charging you for various interests, what they are using your money for, and whatever they say they will do. If you want to collect your money, even when they say it's available and all that. So the central control was quite mighty, which is still quite mighty, but those were part of the things that triggered the innovation of the Bitcoin and then the blockchain to be able to empower the Bitcoin. So the blockchain is like, it's not like it is the major technology, it is the technology that powers the Bitcoin. So now Bitcoin is one of the innovations, it's one of the applications on the blockchain technology. So the blockchain is the technology that powers, that underpins the cryptocurrency. And the first cryptocurrency was the Bitcoin, right? So from that one, we know that that's one of the use cases of the blockchain that we understand, the cryptocurrency. Now, that's why I said some of the use cases, also the various industries like the insurance, even the medical aspect, they are leveraging on our technology now. And then, of course, there are lots of countries that are already leveraging on the blockchain for their land registry. Of course, some few countries are already leveraging on the blockchain to deploy their information in the land registry, the blockchain technology. So aspect like even, then of course, the aspect of the real estate also, there's the issue of tokenization, deploying the real estate on the blockchain and then tokenizing the real life asset. That's what even brought about even these NFTs that we're talking about. Those are tokenized real assets. Apart from the fact that we have real assets that are being tokenized, given digital identity to real life assets, right? So now we have the use cases. We said one of the use cases is the cryptocurrency, right? And then that means the financial sector leverage on the blockchain to be able to see a solution to the too much centrality that was hovering around the financial sector. And then, of course, the smart contract is even one of the use case, the applications, of course, the applications of the blockchain. The applications are things like the smart contract, things like the cryptocurrency. Then some of the use cases are like the ones I have said for the real estate, record keeping in the court, of course, and then things like the insurance companies, the medical aspect, the supply chains. These are sectors that are already looking on, and then of course deploying information on the blockchain, because there are a lot of opportunities and advantages, which I said earlier that some of the advantages are the immutability, the fact that you cannot change information, and the fact that it is faster, it is cheaper, and then the fact that it is secure. Of course, there are various disadvantages that is being canvassed, but the good thing is that if we look at the good part, we can all understand and come into it and see how we can provide solutions to harness the good part of it. Now, when the DAO attack happened, where people were scammed of a lot of cryptocurrency, a lot of Ethereum, right? They were scammed a lot on the blockchain technology at the early stage. It was due to the loophole in the smart contract. Now, for me and you to understand this smart contract, we come into it. Are we not going to be making impact in that space? You are now able to help them review, because the smart contract is it's about putting agreements in codes, using a cryptographic algorithms to impute some agreements. And once those agreements, the thing is that because it is encoded and it is automatic, Once the thing that has been stated, if there's an error, the thing will not understand the fact that, oh, it was supposed to say once this phone is present somewhere, then this book should transfer to Adela. And then it will not tell you that, providing that there is a pen that is beside the Adelas at that time that it will transfer. If you forget that kind of error, if it's humans, you can still take it there and be like, oh no, we forgot. If it's like the traditional agreement, oh, we forgot to put it that when the pen is beside Adela, that's when the phone should transfer or the book should transfer. No, it won't happen that way because it's already automatic. So if you forget any form of clause, then the whole thing will just trigger. Once the part that was supposed to be initially executed is executed, the whole thing will trigger the other aspect and it will just go on. So it needs no amendment. So that's where you will see that the issue of the immutability that we said you can't change. As much as it is good, it is also bad in case you forget anything and there's a mistake or error, right? So there's an aspect of that in that in the blockchain. And of course, these are things that can be worked on when it is well understood. So apart from that, we have various types of blockchain. We have the public and the private. So the public is permissionless. So where you have your Bitcoin and all those are public. And then you have your private ones, like the ones by the Hyperledger, and some of these few ones are private. And those ones need that you have permission. How did it become private? These are things that maybe some forms of big companies, some consortiums kind of came together to be like, okay, they are creating their own blockchain. So you have to be a part of that organization, that ecosystem, to be able to gain access to every information on it. But for the public ones like the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, and the rest of it, you need no permission from anyone, right? So as long as you are not operating under that private one, under a particular organization, then you know that you are operating the one that is permissionless and public. And so that is basically it. For others, they will categorize it into four. They will say the private, permissionless, the permissioned, and the public. So, but it's basically like it goes together, just like I have seen. So the fact that the private is you need permission, and then the public, you don't need permission. So now we have the various blockchain use cases that I said earlier, that the financial sector, we brought about the cryptocurrency, the health sector, they're already leveraging it, the real estate, in terms of the tokenization of real life properties, real life assets, right? And then of course the insurance, the art and music sector, which is what brought about the, the NFTs. Then of course the government, they're already leveraging the blockchain to conduct things like election. And then of course some organizations are using it to be able to get donations for charities and stuff like that. This is because of the various advantages that are associated with the blockchain. Now we have the blockchain technologies. The various blockchain technology, we have the Bitcoin, we have the Ethereum, we have NEO, we have Hyperledger. Hyperledger is one of the, like I said, one of the private blockchain, right? Then we have EOS. There are a lot of blockchain technologies, right? So apart from that, we have the notable pillars of blockchain. Sometimes I've been approached by someone and the person was like, okay, we used to hear about blockchain now, but we're not on the blockchain or I can't recall. Yeah, we're not on blockchain or we're not on NFTs now. Now we're talking of the metaverse. It's quite different from blockchain and NFTs. Someone told me that. So, and I looked at the client and I was like, no, let me let you know. It's not like the NFT is actually, or the metaverse is disconnected from the blockchain and then the NFTs, right? So, but the thing is, over the years, the blockchain has gone through various innovations, revolutions. It's evolving. It has not gotten to its full-blown stage, right? So now for the blockchain, the first use case of it was the cryptocurrency, the financial sector, where I said because of issues with the central authority and stuff like that, that was what brought about, that triggered that kind of innovation that, okay, let's get a system where people can control their money, where people can actually hold their money and determine what they want to do at the right time and make their money directly. Not that people will make money off them and still control it and tell them what what they want to tell the people that owns the money, right? So now from that, it's evolving over the years. There was the time we got to the DeFi. DeFi is the decentralized finance, right? So we have different things happening on the decentralized finance. You have your staking, you have your farming and all those stuff. When you come into the space, you get to understand all this. So it's all about decentralized finance. It's not the centralized one like you have operating in the bank. So there are things you can put your money into on the decentralized finance to actually make you that money, things like the staking, the farming, and stuff like that. Now, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned the fact that there's a Sarah Idaosa, the founder of Women in DeFi, will be here also to speak to us on women participation in the blockchain. Since she's working with women also in the decentralized finance, you can ask her any question about the decentralized finance, and then of course the participation of women in her own ecosystem, and then of course how you can also partake in that communities. And I know that the sky is the beginning as you leverage on these various communities. That's why we have made it a point of duty to connect. And I take it as a personal duty to bring in these various experts so that you can relate with them, ask them your bugging questions, get your direction, and then I'm trying to stir you up with this whole thing so you know the direction is going and you are able to be like, connect the dots. So they don't just come and then they talk, you're wondering, okay, which one is DeFi again and all that. These are all evolutions stemming up from the blockchain, right? So from the DeFi, we have the DAO. Now that's why we have Tutor coming. So what he operates is a form of decentralized autonomous organization, kind of, these are all innovations coming up on the blockchain, where you have communities that the person is not really forming like the all-in-all and the mighty person who is controlling the communities. I belong to some of these communities. One is a smart contract research forum. And then, the thing is your idea counts in this kind of communities, and they operate by way of trying to make it like a blockchain form of system, in the sense that, it's a consensus mechanism. So you don't have a leader who is coming to tell you that this is what has to be done and it must be final. No, they are getting your ideas. It is the communities that are actually making those ideas. Those are the consensus that they are gathering. So people are coming up with organizations on this DAO that are trying to leverage and operate like the organizations that really truly needs to be operated on the blockchain system, whereby you have the members of the communities, the peer-to-peer operating in these communities, making the decisions and making the contributions to grow the communities to the higher level. So you'll be able to, get to read about this or get to understand as they come around to speak about it. And then, of course, we have the NFTs, which are the non-fungible tokens, the digitization of real-life assets in the digitization of real life assets. And we see the music industry, the arts industry, they're all leveraging on this. Now, when the hype for the NFTs, I think, started from that 2021, when one of these popular art was sold for over how many thousands of dollars. And then, of course, there are a lot of arguments about these NFTs. And you keep wondering, because the bill still revolves on the fact that a lot of things are being turned to NFTs now. And then we have arguments and then, of course, various controversies about the values of some of these things. Apart from the fact that we have real life assets and we have things that are of value that are being digitized and turned into NFTs, we also have some that really, I will not say, but there are so much arguments about the value that those things offer. Take an example. Some time ago, they said the owner of Twitter actually converted the first tweet into an NFT, and it was being sold for an amount. And then people keep wondering, how much of good will that do for me? Well, that is a debate that is going on, and then you can read up and get to understand and all that. And then, of course, apart from the fact that artwork, of course, they are value. So if you are into arts, you love arts and all that, you know the value it will give you. But we have things like generative arts also. Sometimes you just see some ugly stuff and then they just put them as NFTs. These are things they refer to as generative art. It has no value in real life. It's looking like an animal. It's not really, but of course, people are digitizing and then they are selling, and then sometimes the hype around it is based on the influencers, social media drive, and some of the celebrity drive. Take an example, when Snoop Dogg put up some, things like that, because it's a celebrity, the hype about it, they are able to leverage social media. They are driving a lot of, interest and spurring a lot of interest into it, and then they're able to sell some of these things. So sometimes people argue and be like, the hype about these NFTs are quite too much more than the value it offers. as much as I might agree to a reasonable extent, it is not all. There are some that actually offers a lot of value. Because for me, take an example in the fashion industries, if you are able to put your creativity, your fashion, your designs, or turn it to an NFT, that's great, because this is your work. You have drawn this design, this particular clothes that you have imagined, and you monetize it, you turn it into an NFT. I think that's value, because you are able to secure that there, and it's something that is for you, right? And you can make your money. And then, of course, the fact that the NFTs has also helped some of these people in the music and in the art industry, in the sense that they don't have to deal with the middleman. Don't forget, okay, apart from the fact that we act as middlemen, there are also middlemen in the creative industries that act as, okay, you have done your art, let me go and auction it for you. So now you can actually have direct access to your buyers, turn it into an NFT, you market it, and then you are able to sell. So these are some of the advantages that the blockchain, the NFTs being deployed on the blockchain, is offering to people in the arts industry, in the music industry, the creative industry. So sometimes most of the profits were being explored by the middlemen for this kind of creativity, but now they are able to access their various markets and the various users and buyers directly. So then, of course, I didn't talk about the metaverse. Then we have the metaverse, right? Okay, so that's the virtual reality. So it's like what you have in the world, they are putting it in the virtual, in the virtual world. So it is actually supported by the virtual reality and augmented reality. So it could be for you to, of course, the real estate is heavily being deployed on the metaverse now. A lot of organizations are buying huge and thousands of meters of plots of land in the metaverse. A lot of organizations. So some samples of the companies that are the drivers of this products, like the land, the real estate in the metaverse, are places like Decentraland. Now, for the metaverse, you can actually participate on it on the system. I have done some programs that we were asked to go to the metaverse, and then, of course, for me, whether it makes sense or not, well, it's a personal issue, but really, so you get there, you create avatars, and the avatars are to represent you. So you name it your name, and then you're probably going for a party, or you are going for a show or something, and then you're just playing. And then someone said recently, and my husband was telling me, I was like, the person said the metaverse is like an advanced cartoon. Whether it is so or not, I do not know, but really, so you are here, and then of course you are pretending or you are playing in the virtual world. And then of course it can also be by augmented reality, like it's supported by the virtual and the augmented reality. So apart from the fact that so you can access the metaverse by just logging into the details of the organizations that are already on the metaverse, like the Decentraland, and then get to leverage on what they are doing in the metaverse and get there. Then you see the buildings, you are seeing different streets, you are moving around, trying to, get accustomed to the environment and stuff like that. And then of course, before you even get into it, you start with a stage of dressing yourself up, dressing the avatar up to represent you. So you do all those stuff. I think for me, it seems like a game or something. Then of course, apart from that one, you can put up this, the strap, all those augmented realities that you can put, and you are watching a movie in the metaverse, right? Or you are playing a game, which they are quite fun for me. But whether these are something that we should look into, and then whether you are looking into it or not, the thing is these things are here to stay, and they are taking, they are like taking over. So the faster you get to understand it, the better for you, so you can be able to leverage on it. And some people get there, they are playing some games, they are injuring other people with their avatars. And then I keep wondering whether some legal issues will not arise in the long run. And these are some of the questions I ask some of the developers, and be like, okay, can't legal issues arise? And then where do we take these legal issues to? Do we now need to build like law firms? But the thing is, when you get to understand, you are, relating, interfacing with it, you get your interest to be stirred up, and you get to ask questions that will be relevant to you, and you'll be like, okay, can I think about bringing a law firm to the metaverse? Because issues that have been, the things that have been transacted in the metaverse, should they come and be settled in the physical world, or let's put up our law firms there? And then one of the tech developers was like, I don't think it's necessary, but I'm not taking that. I'm just trying to, survey and sample some surveys. When I get to interface fully and I am sure that yes, there is a need for that, you can go ahead. So these are things that you won't get to know if you're not interfacing with those aspects. And then by the time you are fully convinced and with the leading of God, and you see the things that are happening there, be like, oh no, there is a need. So that these avatars that are playing and injuring the other one, and then or you are buying something and you end up not paying and you are going, we can go to the virtual law firm in the metaverse there and be like, okay, I'm taking up my case and stuff like that. So these are things that, my mind was getting spurred up because I'm already interfacing with it. So these are some of the examples. And that's what exposing yourself to these things will help you to do. So like I said, the cryptocurrency, we already spoke about it. And then we have various forms of cryptocurrency. We should know that the number one cryptocurrency is the Bitcoin. We have Ether, which is the one we refer to as the Ethereum. The Ethereum is actually the technology that is built on the blockchain to power the Ether. So we have Litecoin, Ripple, Neo, Stellar, Solana, we have Terra, we have several cryptocurrencies. And of course, we have, that's for the crypto aspect of it. Then we have the crypto wallets, exchanges. We have, that's for the crypto aspect. We have the decentralized exchanges. We have centralized exchanges. So if you want to know more about those aspects, there are questions you can put up together, but I can just give you a brief summary before we round up because our time is fast spent and people have not asked questions. So we have the decentralized exchanges, we have centralized ones like Binance, like Coinbase and all that. Then we have the centralized like Trust Wallet, MetaMask and the rest of it, right? Okay, we even have them here. And then so hurriedly, some of the disadvantages of cryptocurrencies, we have the fact that it is volatile, of course. Sometimes your crypto can be, because now if you understand cryptocurrency, we are in the volatile stage, which is the bear market. All cryptos are down now, almost all. They are so down. We're in the bearish season, right? So the volatility, the fact that you can send money for crypto that is $10 now, and then the next minute it can probably be $0. Okay, that's and the fact that people use it to scam abroad. And then it's not like the crypto is bad in its own. It's the fact that it's the same thing I say about fiat currency. People use it to transact evil. They use it to scam for money laundering and the rest of it. It's not because the fiat is bad, it's the purpose behind it. So just like when they bring in new tokens, new tokens, and you are saying, oh, all these things are scam. Yes, some of it is the business behind it. Some people don't have any business, any valuable business, any scalable business. They just believe, oh, because people are bringing out coins, people are bringing out tokens, let's also create our own. What is the basis behind this cryptocurrency? They don't have an idea, or they will lie to you. Sometimes one of the ways you can find out about this is through the communities on the Twitter about that particular organization that is proposing this coin, this new coin that they are bringing. So before you want to invest or before you want to think of relating with that kind of platform, you have to check their white papers. Sometimes you even check these white papers, they lie and put all stuff in it, but you need to just check the communities. You need to do a lot of research. That's why we say in the aspect of the crypto, we have the language they call DYOR, do your own research, right? Always do great research. And then of course, some of the disadvantages about this crypto is the fact that if you leak your private keys, and another person gets access to it, you siphon all your money out of it, then the privacy issues. So we have the market manipulation where some of these big fish, the big whales in the market will just send some tweets and that will run the entire crypto market down. So there are a lot of disadvantages as well as the advantages in it. But the good thing you should know also, then we have the things about regulatory frameworks. So if there's no good and robust regulatory framework, it can actually affect, just like in the aspect of Nigeria, because the regulatory framework is not so stable as stabilized and not so robust yet. People tend to be scared of the cryptocurrency and be like, okay, don't get into it. But the thing is, for lawyers, our role is not to run from problems. The fact that, okay, there's so much hype about this blockchain, the cryptocurrency, get to understand it, get to see how you can play a role on it, and then get to see where you can place yourself in the ecosystem. The bottom line is for us to get to understand this, be able to place ourselves in the ecosystem, function as solutionists and provide solutions, starting from our space, from our jurisdiction to across the borders, because these are transactions that are encouraging trans-border relationship, business, and stuff like that. So you are able to find solutions, you are able to harness the potentials and the opportunities that it offers for your personal use, for your family, and for the society. And then at the same time, you can make impact by suggesting solutions, because as you get to understand, then you can become like a thought leader in the aspect. At the end of the day, because the country has not even stabilized and come out with a robust regulation yet, you can be the sought after lawyer that will create a community of the lawyers that understand this space, and they will want to consult us. And then at the end of the day, you see that, oh, you were part of those super solutions. You were able to understand and apply your legal mind. I keep referring to the fact that the American system in the intellectual property was actually built, was actually built faster, and because of the legal intervention, because the lawyers helped with the way they understood and were able to help in the litigation, and they made a huge impact in that aspect. So if that happened, why can't we also understand this and then try to see how we can help our nation and help the society and help the entire world as a whole to be able to create that solution. And then some of the advantages are the fact that it is protected from inflation, it is cost effective to transact in cryptocurrency. That means, in essence, there are also advantages of the blockchain. When you transact on the blockchain, it is very, very cost effective, and it is fast. It encourages cross-border transactions. It encourages remittances. The currency exchange is great. And then, of course, it encourages, it's a decentralized platform, like we said, it's not controlled by a central authority. And it helps for the distribution of wealth to the masses. That's one of the things that give me joy. So for the crypto, for the blockchain, it does not have any strong barrier that will be like, oh, you need to have had some forms of pedigree in terms of finances. You must have had some forms of inheritance, this big and huge amount of money before you can be a partaker or in a player on the blockchain system. No, it helps with the distribution of wealth to the masses. That is one of the parts I found so intriguing about it. So take an example, if you are getting into the cryptocurrency space, you're not going to wait and be like, I'm looking for 40 million or 10 million or 5 million or $1,000 before I can invest into this. If you now choose to understand, if you understand and choose to get into investing into it, as small as 1,000, you can actually have your space in investing into it. But whether it is right, of course, the system, the Nigerian economy was not advising, but now we have various rules that has been brought out for those who are already transacting in the trading aspect and in the various aspects of the cryptocurrency. But whether it's a fair rule or not, I feel that the rule that they have brought out is like a first step, is the right step towards the first step towards the right direction. And these are some of the things we can put up the questions to ask people like Senator Ihenye when he comes about the regulatory framework of these things in Nigeria. So very quickly, I have to bring this to a close. So I spoke about the fact that the Nigerian Securities and Exchange Commission has released a new rule for digital assets in Nigeria. So you might want to look at things like this, right? And then when we see Senator, you can ask questions, or if you have questions, you can post those ones, pose the questions to me at a later time, but I will have another meeting in the next few minutes. So please, can we just hurriedly take some questions? I'm sorry I have taken your time, but this is to open your mind all up to most of these things. And then you are able to have an open mind to other lectures that will come up. And the various lectures, majorly, if you are accustomed to the trainings that we do on this platform, I devote a large number of sessions to the blockchain, which from what I have said earlier, you must have known, the regulatory framework will come, the ecosystem, and the various aspects, right? So this is like to combine all topics. All these topics can take us a whole day, but I had to just, cram them all up for you to have a bit of an understanding so that when it's being taught at some point about regulations, you'll not be like, okay, I don't even understand. So what am I going to ask about the regulation and all that? So that is it. Thank you so much. If you have questions, we'll just take few questions, about 5, and then the other ones can actually be sent on the platform while I refer to them. Thank you so much. Adela, please take over.
All right, Ma, thank you very much, Ma, for that enlightening session. I hope we've all been blessed and we've all learned something about emerging technology and about blockchain technology. So very quickly, we have one question here. Somebody is asking, is there a code of conduct for tech lawyers?
Hello?
Hello, Ma, can you hear me?
Hello?
Ma, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, sorry.
I said somebody asked, is there a code of conduct for tech lawyers?
Well, a code of conduct, like as we have our professional rules of conduct, like is that what you're saying, the RPC? Well, I am not aware of any, right? I'm not aware of any, but as by the time the ecosystem probably gets quite, saturated, you might probably, those might be the things that will actually come up. But of course, you are ruled by the fact that there are various rules for the lawyers, like the rules of the professional conduct that you can have reference to that will probably guide you. And because the tech space is just coming into, it's not in full operation yet, especially for the emerging tech space. There is nothing really ruling and be like, okay, these are the ways and the things that guides you as a tech lawyer yet, right? So we're just trying to build like the legal tech, the tech ecosystem in the legal space. So like rules that are really guiding you to say, okay, because you are in the tech space, it's not as per because you are a lawyer in the legal space. So if there will be rules, it will be things that like the fintech already have a body, they have an association already. So I will believe there will be a form of law, a form of rules that will probably guide them. So, and most of the lawyers are a part of this fintech. So maybe it is those things you can have recourse for. But for when we've not even built the legal tech, how are we going to have the code of the legal code of conduct for tech lawyers, or the tech code of conduct for lawyers in tech, right? So these are things that will definitely come up as the rest of us are building the ecosystem. And don't forget, this platform is building the emerging women in tech, women in the emerging tech that will lead and then be able to suggest like this and come up with rules and codes that will guide and direct our actions in the long run. But we're starting with the building, right?
All right, Ma. Thank you, Ma. The next question is are there any courses on becoming an expert in this field as a lawyer?
Of course, there are various courses. Like I said, for the emerging technology as a whole, or for the various aspects, really just answer it in the whole. It is any of the emerging tech space, there are various courses for them. And then for the blockchain, there are plenty. Several courses. Like for me, when I started and I asked one of my mentors, also a young lady in the space in law, and I said, okay, what really? Like there are paid ones and there are unpaid ones. But the best part you can even start from is when you go for trainings like this, you get to understand, you do some forms of research, and then you are now able, from the research, you even get to understand, okay, these are places that they run blockchain courses, or these are places they run courses in artificial intelligence. Organizations, schools are running programs. Take the best, simplest place you can even start with. I have done several courses on the blockchain in Udemy. So some of these digital platforms offer blockchain courses. So how do you call yourself an expert? Of course, by going through all these trainings and you have done to levels, you are doing research, you are writing on it, you get to understand, and it's like there's no one man that is possessed of all the information. You get from here, you get from there. I did several courses on Udemy. There are courses on Coursera have I done on the blockchain particularly, but there are other aspects. Then of course universities like University of Nicosia offer some trainings on blockchain and digital currency and stuff like that. So there are various academies, organizations that are doing trainings, and of course you can actually get some of these things also from the research. And then when you watch some of these video clips that are put out by various individuals who are in the blockchain space, whether on the YouTube and stuff like that. But the more you do the research, you might even discover some of the trainings that I am not aware. But like I said, there are several trainings you can do. The Blockchain Council is there, where you can run various courses also, and they will give you some experts, some certification, expertise certification. But the good thing, one thing I do not allow myself to get driven about is the fact that I wasn't running after a certificate of expertise, because you can actually have some certificates you have no understanding. Most of the things that I have now is due to the personal research. Now, for some of the courses I did at the earlier stage when I had not even fully understood, it didn't really make a sense. When I started with the research, I had to go back to those courses again and be like, okay, was that what they were saying here? You understand? So that is the whole thing about it. Yes. So there are Blockchain Council, Jeremy, the University of Nicosia, but the University of Nicosia actually has it at the very expensive rate that they are running in. But like I said, do not just run after expertise. Start from the research, go for the simple ones that are quite cheap that you can understand. Read, the more you understand, the more you write about it, the more you get to understand also, and then you're able to direct yourself, make informed decisions about the various organizations that you want to do the training with that will help you. So the first thing is to get the understanding, followed by the expert certification and all that. And then, of course, IBM has some courses on some of this emerging technology, IoT, some stuff on blockchain and all that. Then there are several that I might not remember now, but when we keep interfacing and talking, and some will come to my mind that I can actually, share, right? And of course, understanding from some communities I belong to. I didn't go there to get expertise and be like, give me certificate, but you intend, and then you're able to, relate with communities, and then being a part of communities, some blockchain communities. So you are talking with some developers, you are talking with various people in the ecosystem. Sometimes it could be getting really, confusing, but in the long run, you get to understand. I did a program on what they call one of the academies in blockchain also, Realm Academy, and it's a good, in fact, it's a very great platform. That was where I had most of my experience on the metaverse, right? Realm Academy. So we had people, I was the only lawyer among them. The rest of the people were from, they were developers, they were, like all those stuff in the blockchain. But of course, the thing is never get intimidated, right? So in the long run, you can even get set up and be like, oh no, I want to do some forms of coding in this aspect. That will now be on your personal choice, like it is on my personal choice to do that, right? That but there's no pressure, just be open-minded. And when you don't understand, you ask questions. So what do you think this is and all that? Once you relate with them, you hear the language, you hear the things that are going on, you get to understand. You're coming from a legal background, you are, okay, where will I play a role? How will it benefit? How will I be able to, where's the best place for me in this ecosystem? I guess you understand, right?
Yes, ma. Thank you, ma.
Right.
So, and
Right.
the other question is, does one need certifications? Does one need certifications in this field to start a career in it?
No, you don't. You don't. I'm not even sure. You don't. Like I said, the most important thing is as you start getting to understand, from things like this will open you up. Don't forget, I said when my mentor told me one thing, why not look into it? The following day I was in a seminar. The next thing I started my research, and the next thing, as I was understanding, I started writing about it. So what am I saying in essence? If you're just hearing about it and getting stirred up about it, do more research. You can check out some of my own articles too, and then you ask me questions, ask other people that will come on this platform, the various industry experts that will come, questions, and then you start reading more on your own to understand. As you understand, put yourself out there. How do you put yourself out there? You start writing about what you're understanding, and when people get to know that, oh, she's putting herself out there, she's even relating with this, she's doing some internship with these people that understand this stuff, she's already writing, she's doing that and all, the next thing, information will come. I get some opportunities that is based on the fact that I'm in this space, and those that are aware of it, once they see like information that I didn't even see, they'll be like, oh, Debbie, you are in this space, see you. And then you'll see where to even do some forms of boot camps and stuff like that. That's how it happens. So it's not because I put some certificate and I was telling them, see my certificate, so see the certificates here. I have a certificate in this. No. So these are the ways. And then once you start establishing your authority, your understanding about that space and putting yourself out there, you will get, you will get, there's no doubt about it, you will get to what you have to be able to start. You start, that's why I said this tech space, this one is like self-employed. You don't need that certification to start. You start and you start, and people will see that you have started and you are telling them you have started based on what you understand, right? You can get the certificate and still not understand one thing about it. I'm not saying don't get, I do have some, but you do not need that to start. What you need to do is to start. And how do you start? You have started by being here. That's a great place to start. And you have started by following it up, or when you follow it up and do more reading, more research, and get to understand, post questions and stuff like that to those you feel they understand better than you. And then as you get better, you read, you write, and put it out there. You should be on social media. If not nowhere else, be on LinkedIn. You need to be on LinkedIn. So please, do we have any other question? We'll have to put this up in the next 7 minutes. We need to put it up in the next 7 minutes. We are 15 minutes past our time. I'm sorry about that. So I hope that answers the question. If it doesn't, you can reach out to me, send the questions to the platform. The volunteers will pick them all up, and then I will address it maybe at another time that we are free, the day that they won't the lecture, then we can address that, and before the end of the program, right? There are many questions, we can put them all up, and then we can schedule for me to address it one of these days in this week when we won't have lecture. Is that okay? Hello? 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 Is there anyone with me? Do we have anyone here? Okay, I can't hear anyone again, but please, can we put our questions on the platform? We have to. Okay, yes, sorry. I'm not saying I can hear everyone. Adela, the coordinator, was supposed to be speaking now to get your questions across to me. So since I cannot hear Adela anymore, please, I'm sorry about that. Maybe she got logged out because of the network, but I can assure you we are together. I'm on the platform there. You can actually send your questions to me, or like I said, we'll address it on the 17th or 18th of this month, please. Thank you so much. Put your questions together on the platform, and then I will address it. I really appreciate every one of you for being here today. Tomorrow it continues by 12 to 1:30. The Leonard Silk, Toye Bimuyiwa, will be here tomorrow by 12 to 1:30. Please, let's inform others to be present, and God bless you all. I still remain Deborah Enyone Uni. God bless you. See you.